I think for me, one of the biggest pieces about AI and agents and all of the things that are coming out now is that the way that it's being used needs to be embedded in the system that you're working within. So for instance, we use Salesforce internally. So for internal, everything needs to be in front of you. They need to be able to see the AI or anything that it's doing within that system. If they need to go somewhere else or they need to work in a different system, that just creates inefficiencies that override what you're trying to do with AI to begin with. So it needs to be embedded where you work all day. I actually think it's probably the most critical aspect of AvSight Intelligence and AI in general. If it's not embedded within the tool you're working on, it really kind of goes against the efficiency you're trying to design. So there's quite a few bolt-on products that, not necessarily for AvSight, but just in general for AI and building different automations and things like that. But it requires the employee to go somewhere else or to log into a different system or to need to approve it in a different area. And that doesn't really help because you don't want to be looking at for instance, a customer quote or a MRO work order and then have to jump into another system or a different screen and then be able to try to figure out, well, I was looking at this particular line and now I'm going to look over here. It doesn't really work well that way. You need to have a single pane of glass and all of that information be in a single place for the team member to be able to make a good decision about what should I do with this quote or what should I do with this work order or what should the work scope be. All of those insights, if you've got it in a different system, it really just doesn't work. It doesn't have access to the data that you need, and it's really just not an efficient way of doing things. So for us, having it embedded within the tool makes it seamless, makes it just all work together, whereas anything else just feels like a bolt-on application that needs to be modified together. Yeah, I actually think having it in one system is critical for the adoption of AI in general. If you think of something like a ChatGPT, the adoption, even for myself specifically, I use it, many times a day now. But for me to go from a tool that I knew what it could do to thinking about doing that as a part of my everyday process took a while. So even though it was very powerful, it could give me quite a bit of information, it could help me with a lot of things, I didn't always think, well, maybe I should go do that within ChatGPT because it wasn't part of my daily process. I hadn't changed that. And I'm a technology person. So for me to go through that, you can imagine that if you've got a bolt-on application that's giving you insights, but you have to go look at that or embed that into your process on a daily basis, that adoption is going to be very low or it will take quite a bit of time to do that. However, if you're working in an application or a quote or a work order or anything like that, and there's a box on the right-hand side or a button that automatically does things in the background, even though it could be through an agent or through AI, that's very simple. You're already there. You're already trained to go into that screen. You're already familiar with going into that screen. And then as soon as you do, it's the information that you need is right there. You don't have to think, do I need to go into this other application or anything like that is already there. It's right in front of me at all time.